Hey, Bill Lethman here for Money Evolution. In this video, we're going to be reviewing a recent case study that I did for our hypothetical clients, and we're going to show how we made some changes on the fly to take their retirement plan that had a very low level of confidence to one that had a much higher level of confidence. And we're going to be showing some of the specific changes that we made to get this accomplished. And real quick, if you want to watch that entire case study video, it's called Your Retirement Roadmap, and we'll put some links down in the description below. Okay, so let's jump into our financial planning software here. So we're using eMoney for all of this, and here we have the Mitchells, which is our hypothetical client, Tim and Jill, and they had some pretty aggressive goals going into this financial planning process. Again, this is all hypothetical, but they actually wanted to try to retire and see what that would look like if they retired at the end of this year in 2025. And we knew that was going to be a little bit of a stretch here, but when we look at their portfolio assets over time, we can see that later in life they start to dwindle quite rapidly. And although they're not completely running out of money at 95, they're almost out of money. And if one of them lives a little bit longer, or we go through a sideways market or high inflationary period, that's going to probably put them into a negative situation. So not a lot of confidence. And we can see that when we look at something called a Monte Carlo analysis. And as I've made other videos, this isn't my favorite way to look at things, but it is a good benchmark. And we can see that the Mitchells, with their current plan as we outlined it, only have about a 62% level of confidence here. So what we did is we started looking at different things that the Mitchells could do to maybe get this retirement in a much higher level of confidence. And so we started talking about things like possible downsizing of their house. They currently live in a $1.1 million home, and they thought maybe they could downsize that to a $750,000 home. And we can see exactly what that looks like here. And just doing that one change, because they're going to cut off a few years off the mortgage that they were paying on. They're also going to reduce their annual expenses for that house because it's going to be a smaller home. And we can see that one change would still allow them to retire this year in 2025 and have a high level of confidence. But then they said, hey, you know what, maybe we'd like to budget in some extra things for retirement, some extra travel and things like that. So we started looking at other things, maybe working a couple more years, for example, and in using that time to work those extra 2 years and do some extra travel. So we said, let's increase our travel budget while you're still working there. And maybe we just cut back a little bit on our 401k contributions. Currently in the plan, they're both contributing $30,000 a year to their 401k. So we just cut that in half to $15,000 each. Make sure you're still getting the match. And then also let's budget in an extra $30,000 of travel for the first 15 years of retirement. So this is going to allow them to do a lot of those things that they had on their bucket list, some of those trips and the other things, spending time with family and things like that. And a good compromise between working a couple more years, maybe slightly downsizing the house, and then having that ability to do that. So when we come back over to the Monte Carlo after doing all of that, we can see that they have now a much higher level of confidence. And you can see a little bit about just how quickly we can do some of these changes within the software. And I need to add that back in, and we should see their confidence now goes from 62% to 98%. So anyway, that's it for this video. If you like it, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Check out the video that I did on creating your retirement roadmap, and I'll see you back in one of our next videos. Thanks.